Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus pilot, and in this easy tutorial for the iniBuilds A320neo we are going to have a look at the final approach and the landing. We are already on the extended center line, 23 nautical miles out from our destination airport Cologne-Bonn. We are going to take a small moment to discuss the approach procedures in here, and then we're going to have a look at the final landing procedure and how to land the airplane smoothly. Let's first of all start with the standard approach procedure though. So basically, the standard flap extension schedule of the Airbus A320 goes as follows. We want to intercept the glide slope using flaps 1. Now, you can see that you do have the deceleration point up there. Now this 190 knot restriction here is making it somewhat hard to see, so let's cancel that out. We'll go direct to cookit here. That way we get a slightly nicer approach, as you can see. So you can see here is our deceleration point. And at that point the approach phase, basically that one, is automatically going to activate. That will set the speed target down to the approach speed. However, your Airbus is never going to fly slower than the characteristic speed for the current configuration. This means if we are in a clean configuration, so flaps up, the Airbus is never going to fly slower than the green dot speed over here. When we are in a flap 1 configuration, it will never go below the S speed, and so on. So we will see that in a few moments. This means we need to extend the flaps at the correct position during the approach. Now, basically here's how we do it. Once we reach our decel point, the approach phase is going to activate and our speed is going to start to reduce. When we reach the green dot speed, we are going to extend the flaps into the 1 position. From there, the airplane will further reduce towards the S speed. S, Sierra, stands for the speeds with the slats extended, which is basically the flap 1 configuration, only the slats extended. We are going to maintain that speed and that flap configuration until we are 2,000 feet above the destination aerodrome. When we reach that point, which is roughly 6 nautical miles away from the airport, then we're going to extend flaps 2. When the flaps reach the 2 position, we extend the landing gear. When the gear is down, we extend flaps 3. And when the flaps are at position 3, we can extend flaps full. That is basically how we fly the approach. Alright, so let's have a look at how that looks like in a practical example. Now, we have overflown the decel point. You can see our speed target went all the way down to our final approach speed, and now the airplane starts decelerating. Let's also assume that air traffic control has cleared us for the ILS approach already, so we press the approach button and activate the second autopilot. On the FMA we can now see Cat 3 Dual, autopilot 1 and 2, and we already have localizer capture, as you can see, since our routing is basically bringing us in on the extended center line, and the glide slope mode is armed. Now we are reaching the green dot speed, so let's go flaps 1. So, flaps are coming into the 1 position, and the speed target, or the green dot, has vanished, and now we can see the green S speed. Now the airplane is decelerating towards the S speed. We are going to maintain that speed until we reach approximately 6 nautical miles from the landing runway, which is more or less 2,000 feet above the ground. Don't be confused by the radio altimeter, as we may be flying over mountainous terrain. As you can see looking outside, we are indeed flying over hills over here. Next up, as soon as the glide slope is captured, we're going to set our missed approach altitude. And here it goes, glide slope star. And our missed approach altitude, we can see that on the flight plan page down here on the last waypoint of the missed approach, 5,000 feet or flight level 50. So we can set that up here. Alright. And now, until we reach 6 nautical miles, there is nothing more we need to do. The airplane is going to nicely fly down on the glide slope in flaps 1, provided that you're on speed. If your speed is high, use the speed brake in order to reduce the speed back towards the target. Let's already press the forward call button, so that our purser is alerted that we will be landing shortly. And you can see that the purser in return pressed the cabin ready button on the flight attendant control panel in the cabin. Okay, we're now reaching 6 nautical miles. Let's extend flaps 2. And you can see the flaps are now coming down and the speed target has further reduced towards the F speed. Okay, the flaps are in position 2, so let's go landing gear down. And the gear starts extending. This is also going to add a lot of drag to the airplane so that the deceleration will become easier. When the gear is getting extended, arm the spoilers for landing, so pull them out again so that you see the white part of the lever, and turn on the nose light as well as the runway turn-off lights. Now that the landing gear is down, we can go to flaps 3. Like that. And we can straight away go to flaps full as well, like so. Okay, landing checklist, ECAM memo, landing no blue, landing checklist complete. Let's now talk about the landing. So, we are going to do a manual landing here. That means we can deactivate the autopilot already. Press the button twice so that the alarm also stops. We can leave the auto thrust in. The Airbus can fly very well in manual flight with auto thrust still connected. Let's now talk about how we are actually going to land the aircraft. So, landing an A320 is quite easy. Basically, we manually maintain the glide slope until approximately 20 feet above the ground. At 20 feet, we pitch up by approximately 2 degrees of pitch, and we basically just hold that pitch until the airplane settles on the ground. Now, do not prolong the flare in order to achieve a smoother landing. We really don't want to do that. Between 20 and 30 feet, the aircraft is going to scream retard at you. And no, it's not trying to insult you for the upcoming landing, but it much rather wants to tell you to retard the thrust levers into the idle position. And that's what we will do when the airplane tells us to retard. However, remember, it is just a reminder, you can retard them later if you're descending very quickly, or earlier if you're still very fast. Okay, so let's now put that to practice.
100.
Coming in nicely on the glide, don't shy away from the runway.
30. 20.
Okay, flare slightly, just pitch up a bit. Idle thrust. And just put it down on the ground. As soon as you're down, activate the thrust reversers. Oh, thank you very much. That was important over here. Yeah, ignore. So, activate the thrust reversers. Make sure your spoilers deploy, as seen down here on the ECAM. And verify that you are indeed decelerating, as can be seen by the decel arrow over here. At 70 knots, we can go back to idle thrust. And then we brake in order to vacate the runway right over here on taxiway Tango. Alright, so that is about as easy as it gets to land the Airbus A320. So basically, to summarize this once again, at 20 feet, pitch up about 2 degrees and just hold it there. Retard the thrust levers to idle and the airplane will nicely settle down on the runway. And that's about everything you need to do. So, that's about as easy as it gets to land an A320. I would like to thank you very much for watching, hope that you learned something today, and on the final tutorial, coming up next, we are going to taxi the airplane in and shut it down. And with that, I would like to thank you very much for watching this video, hope that you've learned something. As always, I'm looking forward to your feedback, and if you're up for more, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Finally, if you really like what I'm doing over here, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and see you all again on the next one.